Boop, 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 boop. That's very hypnotic, isn't it? Welcome to YouTooSpain Live. This week I'll be chatting about Easter in Spain with Shaun, the expat in Mazarrón, and going through some of the national and regional news, including the holiday celebrations where we live. So it's kind of Malaga province versus Mazarrón today. We're going to have lots of fun. So join us with questions and comments on the live chat or in the comments below if you're watching afterwards, because you are a part of this too. You're very welcome to YouTooSpain. Let's run that theme song. Where is it now? Here it comes. There you go. You get a few seconds of me nodding because there's a bit of a delay there between me and you. We have about 23 seconds going on. So while you all join us, let's say hello to the very groovy, my expert guest for today. It's Shaun, the expat from Mazarrón, and here he is. Hola, Shaun.
Good morning, everybody. Yep, from sunny Mazarrón area, or the Murcia region. The sun's out. Temperatures today's, because I always like to rub that into people. 23, probably by midday, so not bad.
That is lovely.
At the moment.
You've got a microclimate over there, haven't you? Well, up in the mountains here, if you go away from the coast like we are, and 700 meters up, then we're still we're still below 20 for most of the day, most of the week at the moment. But yeah, when the sun's out, you can still be warm up here. But yeah, down on the coast over here, I think it's not quite as warm as it is over there, over in the east. So yeah, a bit cloudy today. And we'll talk about some wind warnings that we've got for the whole of the south of Spain later on. Yeah, that's one of the news items, which I hope won't disrupt my outdoor gig later on today. But anyway, we'll come to that later. So it's great to have you with us. And I introduced you as being from the YouTube channel Expat in Mazarrón, but when we met up recently, along with our mutual top fan Yogi down in Nerja.
Yogi.
Yes, we'll have a look at who's joined us on the live chat in a minute, see if he's there. But you told me then that you were setting up a new channel. So before we go any further, tell us all about that.
So I've set up another channel. I sort of started end of last year called Retiring to Spain, but it's more about me in Jan, really, as a couple. And it's just sort of, and also I do chats with people that's only just recently moved to Spain, some with non-lucrative visas, some that's obviously got an Irish passport and they've come over, but they're all very new and pretty interesting. I met a couple from the UK that moved to Canada to start a new life, but they found after 15 years in Canada, it was just getting so expensive. So they moved from Canada to Spain. They're loving it. Still, I'm amazed the amount of people still coming from the UK to Spain, even with these non-lucrative. It makes things a little bit more difficult now, especially with finance. But the channel's doing well, I must say. Quite enjoy making videos, so that's why I've got a couple of channels that I like to post most weeks.
Yeah, that's great. I find I'm enjoying more these chats with real people who are moving. Not that the experts I have on here aren't real people, but sometimes you're talking just about the one subject. But when it's somebody who's moved over and it's their life experience, you can get some get some really good chats going. I'm just starting up a radio show on Coast FM Gold, it is, which is based in Nerja, and that's all starting up on May 1st, May 2nd. They've given me a time slot on a Friday morning. I'm on kind of peak time when everyone's listening, so that's going to be fun. And I'm going to talk to the same kind of people as you're talking to, but actually I'll start off with talking to lots of musicians. So I'll be interviewing some of the local musicians, and that'll give them publicity and introduce them to loads of people. And also a lot of them are well known around the town anyway, so it'll be lovely to hear their backstories, you know. That is groovy. Let's see then what we've got. Oh yeah, so what I was going to say is I'll put the link, if you can send me the link to your YouTube channel after the show, and I'll put it down below the video. There we go. So let's just say a quick hello to everybody on the live chat before we get on to the news and the questions. Give us a wave, everybody, and write something down there so we know you're there. I know there's a few of you have joined. It says 19 on my little counter above, so it does take people a little while to join us. We've got Adam Farmelo. Good morning and happy Easter to you all. Alicante Explorer, good morning to you too. And Paul Cook, Bradley Smith, and Bengal Bert. There we go. Some of those are your fans as well, aren't they?
Yeah, Bengal Bert. Well, he gets around on loads of channels. I saw him the other day.
Brilliant. And yeah, Yogi's probably on his running machine or on the weights or something like that.
Yeah, he'd be in the gym, no doubt.
Yes, good for him. He's always keeping fit. And we've not got Ant and Kez on today because they've got plans to move from France to Spain, and they've got a meeting with Chris next week, I think, a phone call meeting to get their ducks in a row, or their canards in a row, as they said on a little note to me this morning. So, great stuff. And we'll say hello to everybody else as they join us. So, celebrating Easter. Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Feliz Semana Santa. There we go, as we say in Spain. And how are you celebrating? Do you go for a lot of the Spanish traditions, or do you stick to the British ways and have a Sunday dinner and do the usual stuff?
Well, funny enough, we are going out tomorrow morning. Well, not tomorrow. Tomorrow midday for our lunch, but we're going to a Chinese restaurant. So a little bit different, not the traditional Yorkshire pudding stuff. We're going for Chinese. Yeah, I mean, I think their wives bought me an Easter egg, but I mean, we was out last night and we could see there was a parade getting ready down in Mazarrón town. The youngsters are all dressed up in their white cloaks and looking at a red band thing, and obviously there was this band there, and you could see the two statues. I don't think the kids were carrying those. I would imagine it would be adults, but we didn't. As always, it's trying to park up, and so we missed it. But I've seen a lot of these over the years, and they're always amazing at how these guys carry those big, heavy statues. You know,
yeah. We had one on I think it was the Friday parade that Liz and I went to just down in Competa, and yes, it was the Friday one because they were carrying the Jesus on the cross one, which was I think it was on a platform, but it was, of course, it was way up high, and they had ropes attached and everything trying to. But as they were coming out of the church, and they always turn to their right and start to go down a hill, and as they all turned to go down the hill, it all started tipping over, and there's loads of people running from the crowd just to go, no, we don't want to drop Jesus, not on Good Friday. That would be terrible. So
I mean, down in Lorca, which is not too far from us, there's like a museum where they keep all these big structural statues that they carry, and there's one of them which I believe they use at this Holy Week, as they call it, the full table of all the disciples and Jesus, and that must weigh I mean, and I looked at the actual wooden structure. I mean, in just the wood must weigh a huge amount of weight, and you can see these guys are struggling, but they all want to do it, don't they? It's what they are born for, to carry these massive structures.
They do, and they practice it for weeks beforehand. They come out with the drums and they have to practice the step.
Yeah.
That's why there's always the doom, 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 and you can hear them practicing it for weeks before in the village as we were overlooking it. And actually, one of our news items that let's put up this one, because this is what was one of the big features of Holy Week. Let's just get us back to the right of the screen there. There we go. And this is the Spanish Legion soldiers in Malaga. They disembarked from a ship. You can see there, I don't know if people can see if they're watching on a small screen, but there's this video. Let's just set it going. But there's so many of them up there, and there's crowds over there on the right, and they all gather once they've come off ship, and then they carry, if I show it a bit later on, let's move it on. There you go, there they are carrying the cross. And at that point they're carrying it, it's not on their shoulders. So these are the even more tough men. They've just got their hands out in front of them like that. But in a moment they go up like that with just their arms. And there's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, well, 12, 15 of them, something like that. So that must be heavy, but that's nothing compared to some of the effigies that they have in all of the parades. And in Malaga, there are, I think, 7 brotherhoods, all all from different parts of around the city, and they all start their parade at their brotherhood kind of headquarters, where they store the effigy there. And so there's 70 or 80 or 90 people around those things carrying them. They are enormous. So yeah, in the big cities, that must be something to see. And so far, I've not actually been to Malaga during Holy Week to see these things.
It's a bit busy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, there's one of the routes. So that's the route for the Legion. They disembark down here at the pier, and yes, they go right up all through the central street. That's where the cathedral is, where I'm wiggling my pointer there, and that goes all the way down up past the old town, and then onto this, down by the side of the dry riverbed. And yes, and presumably that's where they store. That's the end of their tour. But yeah, all of the different tours go slightly different routes. But I think they all go past the cathedral, and they all go up this central street as well, which is where they have the Christmas lights at Christmas. So that's a big shopping street there.
Oh, look, Yogi's in.
Oh yes. Good morning, says Yogi. Good morning.
And Chris has popped in as well.
Is Chris there?
Yeah. Halfway down.
Oh yes, morning Chris. There he is. Happy Easter to you. And Robert Stubbs from Cooking Made Easy. Good morning, guys. And Paul Bradley says happy Easter to everyone from Suki and Paul. And there's Yogi. Good morning, chaps, and thanks for the donation there. That's very kind. And Cubbly Adventures. That sounds lovely. Nice to see you on Ruta de la Tapa the other week. Ah, yes, of course. We had did you have that in Mazarrón? Do you have a tapas day or several days where people go around and all of the restaurants do a particular tapas?
No, as far as I know of. I mean, they obviously do those, during the year, but not heard nothing during the Easter period.
This was a few weeks ago. It was before Easter. I think they have them a couple of times a year here in Compita.
Yeah,
and it's really nice, and they obviously make a special effort, and it's just the one dish at each restaurant, so you pay something like €4 and you get a drink and that particular tapa. Some of them are really, really special. There you go. So That was good. Yes, it was nice to see you. Make sure you smash that like button, says Yogi. Thanks for the reminder. And yeah, let's move on to the next little item. Oh yes, this was interesting. This is the Holy Week procession in Guadix, which is in Granada province. And it's divided opinion on social media because they've been taking, instead of like handing the bucket around and having all the loose change in there, apparently not many people are carrying the loose change anymore. So what they've got is this little, the machine. Where is it? It was on that video and now it's not there anymore. But yeah, there's the guy with the machine, which looks, it's a very weird picture to look at because it's a mixture of the old traditions and modern technology. And
keeping up with technology, innit? Eh? No more carrying the cash, credit card machines.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're the Nazarene, which is one of the big brotherhoods. They've got a Nazarene one in Malaga as well. Nazareño. Yeah, so it's had more than 40,000 interactions on TikTok and Instagram, and some people saying that the Nazarene were asked about the video, and representatives of the Brotherhood have acknowledged that the person is a member of the Brotherhood, but they've not made any further comment on the matter. Yeah, because you were saying to me before the show, how do you know in these masks? It could be anybody wandering around, but if he'd have to be very, very brave to steal one of their outfits from the Brotherhood and wander around with your own card machine and taking payments. So I'm not sure what I think about that. I think it's quite funny to see the difference in culture as we come into. I mean, what will happen when, what's the next thing in technology? It's not going to be cards that you carry around. There's going to be a chip in people's wrists, and they just wave at some kind of machine.
I find it weird that you use your watch, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're almost there. That's just a chip but you've got it strapped around your wrist. Now, once people have implants in their heads, you could just blink at one of those characters who's got a little, and they'll probably be wearing it on a little circle on their chest, and you just go past them and like blink at it, and it takes a print of your eyes, and you think the amount that you want to donate, and it goes in the and it gets taken out your bank. So who knows what kind of things are going to happen in the future to that? That'll be interesting.
What I love about these events is it's a whole family event, isn't it? I mean, you can see everybody's enjoying these events. They're standing and waiting. Sometimes you're standing there for an hour or so. And the kids are there. And sometimes, I don't know about this one, but I know in some of them, they hand out sweets to the kids because, they're waiting patiently for these people to come down, in the procession. That's
a nice idea. They do treat people well in the. I know they do at the Christmas parades here in Compita. It's lovely. It's very much a family thing, and they knock on people's doors, and people interact very much with them. And there's some that are a lot more, I'd just say, serious than the other ones, where you've got the candle lit one, which I think is the Friday night. I think that was the one last night, which is where the crucifixion has happened, and it's a great period of mourning. So which is entirely different to the Sunday morning parade, which is he is risen. So which is a lot more joyful, but it's still the same drumbeat because they've got to carry the effigy around. So this is good. Somebody saying Guadix is a great place. I've never been up there, but is that up from? Is that where there are a lot of cave houses?
Yeah,
there. That's where they seem to be in Granada. Yeah. And Jed says, religious or not, I find these parades help maintain the social cohesion in Spain. I watched part of the Nerca procession live on YouTube earlier in the week. Yeah, Nerca have got a really good one, and I think Torox and Torre del Mar have got quite a huge one as well. Those are all the places next to each other on the coast down by us. And there you go. So yeah, I'm of the same. I agree with you, Jed. I'm not religious, but and I think it's the same with a lot of people in Spain now. It's gradually becoming less of a religion focused, and it's more a sort of culture and tradition focus. And these parades do help the social cohesion, as you say, which I think is a great idea. I mean, I used to go wandering around old churches in England. Absolutely love it. Doesn't mean I'm going to get down on my knees and worship. But yeah. Morning, guys, from John McClure. Nice to see your name again. And Jed says, sorry to see your local private hospital closed down, Shaun. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so last year we had a brand new €11 million hospital built on Campus OA. Obviously private. And little by little, because as always, licenses, I would say, yeah, bad planning. Even though it was all kitted out of an A&E department, 24/7, it whittled down to Monday to Friday, and now nothing. But hopefully, I mean, I would imagine most of the equipment in there is probably rent anyway. So, I mean, there's been no word. Nothing's been said it's been shut. But I did check the previous week, and this week it's definitely shut down. I'm hoping.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I'm hoping with that map, it's needed in the area, so hopefully it will be either taken over by another private group, or maybe they just.
Yeah, maybe there's just not enough people in the area have signed up to the health insurance company that are running that one. Maybe it just needs to be taken over by one that's more popular, so more people will visit. I don't know.
Yeah.
There you go. And Bengal Bert says, just Googled it, and the tapas route in Mazarrón is from the 14th to the 30th of March. That's a long time.
Oh, mind you, that's been and gone then, isn't it?
It has, yes.
Well, that's one you can. There was one a while back where all the obviously bars and restaurants get involved with that, and you get like a little card, then you can just tick them off, and you go to the next one.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. Yeah, there you go. It's on for, looks like a fortnight there. That's even longer than a fortnight.
Yeah.
Great. Good. Right. Well, let's have a look at the next news item. What do we have here? Oh, yes, this is an interesting one. This is temporary, it says, just before everybody panics. UK bans all meat and cheese from the EU. So you can't even bring in a sandwich which has got meat in it, all dairy products, and it's to prevent the spread of foot and mouth disease. It's an urgent government effort, which I think, if I remember rightly, when there was the foot and mouth outbreak when I was living in the UK, it's different in the UK from in the EU, because they slaughter all of the animals. If there's just one cow in a field that's got it, you've got to slaughter the whole lot. So it does have a massive effect on farmers and the supply of food, whereas it doesn't seem to be as serious in countries like Spain. They don't slaughter the animals, they just treat them and they get better. Because it's not, I mean, it's highly contagious, but it's not necessarily deadly, and it's no threat to humans either. So the meat is still produced here. So I don't know if that's the same now as it was back when I was living in the UK. It said, there was a smaller. In 2001, more than 6 million animals were culled during the national crisis, which left an indelible mark on the agricultural sector. Even the smaller 2007 outbreak required swift action to contain. And so there's been a rise of foot and mouth in Germany, Hungary, Slovakia and Austria. So Spain's just joined the list of concern. And of course the contaminated products would be, especially those kind of cured meats and the cheeses. So there you go. So there's more meat and cheese for us, and yeah, so no pork, beef, lamb, mutton, goat, and venison.
Yeah. So
And,
the idea of that is eat your sandwiches before you get on the plane. Then.
yeah, I remember when Liz and I were just about to get on the plane for the USA. She'd just bought a sandwich, and it was a ham salad sandwich, and this very stern woman behind the desk said, "You cannot bring that through here," and she was wearing a gun as well, which was terrifying to us. And this was in Ireland, where you don't see that very often. And she was scary, and Liz said, "Well, can I eat it now?" She said, "Yeah, sit down in that chair." she, don't go away and eat it. I want to see you eat it and then dispose of the packet, so you don't bring it through. And we tried to joke with her, but she was not having it at all, and she was very serious about it. But yeah, scary. And yeah, so their authorities are urging travellers to check the latest import rules before heading to the airport. No milk, cheese, butter and yoghurt. So yeah, no, don't carry your yoghurts on the plane. But there we go. So that's not something I've ever done. I've not sent chorizo or manchego back to the
I've tried to smuggle in Marmite, but they won't have it, will they? Anything form confiscated at the gate.
You not put it in the hold in your luggage?
Well, no, I don't tend to carry a big bag, and I just carry a small bag over.
Of course. Do you go Ryanair then, where it costs you a fortune to put?
Yeah, those two. But yeah,
fair enough. So that was the Andalucía paper. It's also in Sur in English, which is something I read quite a lot. It's based in Malaga, and that's the same item basically. I don't think that tells us anything else. It's just that they've extended the measure in the run-up to Easter. Yes, because there's a lot more travellers moving about right at this minute, especially from Friday through to Sunday. Or baby milk as well. So that's interesting.
I suppose on the other foot of this, Scaps, is about what does the UK do for the Easter weekend in celebrations? I can't remember. Do we do anything?
I think it's all Easter egg hunts and things like that, and find the bunny.
Easter bunny. Yeah, the Americanized sort of celebrations, isn't it? How many Easter eggs can I have?
Yeah, I saw this fantastic little YouTube video with a young, it's like 3-year-old toddler talking to her dad and saying, "I don't understand about Easter. Does Jesus like chocolate? And I always get loads of chocolate, but all of the other times you tell me that chocolate's not good for me, and you tell me not to eat so much of it. But then at Easter, I get loads." And on my birthday and at Christmas, and she's just going on like this, and the father just does not know how to answer it. What kind of chocolate does Jesus like? And I didn't know that bunnies laid eggs. Oh, fantastic! It's a really funny one. So yeah, so it is. It's mostly to do with chocolate, and of course you have a roast Sunday dinner. And we're actually doing a roast lamb, but we didn't. Oh, right. We're not going for Spanish lamb. We actually went to the British shop, and they've got it from a place in Malaga, which does all of the sort of meats that you'd normally get in the UK and in Ireland. So it's a piece of New Zealand lamb. So it's a lot thicker. The legs you get in Spain have not got as much meat on them. They're a lot thinner. So we just splashed out on a large leg of lamb. So that's our traditional sort of Easter. We just sit down and eat a lot for part of the day and then collapse in front of the telly. It's a bit like Christmas, really. But yeah, we do try and go out and see the parades and watch the celebrations. And normally, if I didn't have a bad ankle and wasn't getting around as much this week, I'd probably go out for some fish, because that seems to be traditional. Especially on Good Friday, I think. There we go. Anyone chatting on the live chat? Jed Tierney says, I've been watching the...
Yeah.
Oh, that's all he said. What have you been watching, Jed? Right.
He's forgotten the rest.
Yes. It's just, I know these memory lapses, Jed. I get them myself. So, next news item. Well, this is all about the tariffs. So, von der Leyen, who is the chairperson of the European Commission, I think is her title. She's welcomed the pause in tariffs from Trump. And of course, it was 20% that Trump slapped onto the tariffs for the whole of Europe. And then a few days later, did a bit of a U-turn and paused it. That's part of his negotiating talents, in inverted commas. And once again, von der Leyen has offered the 0 for 0 deal, which you'd think is a good deal, and you'd think that's exactly what America is after. No tariffs for you, and we'll charge you no tariffs. But Trump has said, no, that's still not fair. So, boo-hoo. He wants reciprocal trade. He wants the EU to import more American energy. And so because they've got a trade deficit there going on. So, and that's something that you can't do instantly, is it? Like Spain's got really good cheap energy from cheap oil from North Africa.
That's right, Algeria, isn't it? Which their old colonies. They've got, because all their power stations are run by gas. So I can't see why they would go to America to use their energy.
It would cost too much anyway, even without the tariffs. So, yes. And the Polish Prime Minister is urging both sides of the Atlantic to make the best of the next 90 days, which is how long this pause has been put on for, and to find a compromise. Yes, Trump and compromise in the same sentence. You don't hear that a lot, apart from that he doesn't. So, there you go. Anything else to say about that?
No, not really. Didn't really affect us, really, does it? I don't think.
No, we've not really seen it. The most of the effect has been, I think, on a lot of the trade that comes out from Spain to America is the olive oil and wine and things like that. So the trade goes in the opposite direction. So I don't think I wouldn't buy any American goods, certainly not at the moment, and we wouldn't want to buy American meat.
No, even that famous store McDonald's, they get all their meat obviously locally based anyway, so it's not like they import anything. And even fast food companies.
Indeed, yeah, they get it from they get it from Germany and France, don't they? I think.
Yeah.
Because there's not that many cattle and sheep in this part of Spain, are there?
No,
it's a bit too arid down here. Yeah, they are like the meat on the lamb. It's just it's nice. But have you had the lamb chops? They're just really, really thin, not very much meat on them. Tasty, but yeah, once you've had a New Zealand lamb chop or a rack of lamb, which is got plenty of meat on it, it just seems like a bit too small. Somebody with my appetite. There we go. So this is an article from Europe News: raising a unified European army, myth or reality. So there's been calls for the creation of a European army, an idea that has long stalled on the continent, but is it time to revive it? Not for now, and likely not in the long term either, several EU officials told Euro News. And of course it's all about the Ukraine war.
Yeah. I think Spain made it quite clear that they're not going to be putting any more money into their military anyway. So can't see why they set up a new army.
Yeah, I think they've put some into. They've just put over $1 billion into NATO, which is kind of the same thing. So they're putting finance into there. And what are the latest armed forces figures? Spain has 122,200 troops. So France has got the most, then Germany and Poland, Italy. Spain were down, very low down on the rate of spending up until very recently of the amount that they were giving to NATO as part of their commitment to defence there. There's a bit of a mistake up here. It's time to create a European army, says... this is Pedro Sanchez. EU armed forces with troops from all 27 member countries. There's 29 at the moment, aren't there? Has he got that wrong? Or is it just Euro News who've got it wrong? Yeah. He's saying it is time to create a European army, working under a single flag with the same objective. This is the only way that we become a true nation. So there we go. They're saying on paper the concept is attractive. And it would involve a joint command structure to improve coordination amongst all participating troops. Yes. Not sure what I think about that. It just feels like there's a war coming when you start spending money on the military.
I did see about a month ago, this is another EU thing about you had to store 3 days enough of food, and it didn't really say what that was about, other than you need to have a rescue pack.
Yeah.
But didn't really sort of emphasize where's that coming from? Has there been a threat that we don't know about, or is it just another EU, I don't know, motto thing about what you do? I don't think Spain really bothered with it in the end, but
no. So we don't have to dig some kind of underground bunker and
I didn't say anything about
lead lining.
Taking doors off and hiding under your door.
No, I remember that. Yeah, that was the 1980s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When there was all that crisis going on there. Yes. How much do EU countries spend on defence? There's a graph there, and Spain is over here on the right, next to Sweden. And
they don't spend much.
It's not very much. What does it say? 2024, 1.28% of their GDP, isn't it? Yes, it's a share of their GDP over the last decade. And that was 2014. So they've gone from 0.92% to 1.28%. But places like Portugal were doing 1.88%, now doing 4.12%. So either their GDP has plummeted or their spending has rocketed. But they do have do they have a right-wing government out there?
Well, it's always been sort of right-wing, isn't it? Portugal.
Oh, Portugal. Yeah, no, Poland I'm looking at. Yeah. And Estonia doing a lot of spending. Greece. There you go. So, interesting. How does it affect us? I don't know. But Spain is now, the economy seems to be pretty good at the moment.
They say that we're booming.
Yeah.
Spain's economy's booming.
I did a whole article on it and got some trolls saying, no, it's not. And it's all a cheat. It's all cheated figures by the socialists. Anything that the socialist government does is horrible to anybody from the opposite side of the spectrum. And it's not a particularly socialist government. It's just, it's a socialist party, but it's more like Tony Blair's New Labour.
Yeah,
they're not exactly very far left of centre, but they have done some one or two really good things, like they offset the fuel crisis when the Ukraine war started by, what was it, doing a 10%. They removed 10% of the price of fuel at the pumps. So everybody got a discount, and it meant that businesses and logistics companies weren't punished by high petrol prices. And I think that did Spain a lot of good at the time. There we go. Oh, Jed says, we've actually got the rest of his comment. I've been watching A Place in the Sun repeats and revisits. It highlights how the cost of property in Spain has increased at a greater rate than the UK. It is true. And this is what happens when you get a booming economy. House prices go up and food prices go up and inflation can go up. So you have to keep a lid on it somehow. And then, of course,
sorry. Where we live, there's a new development not too far away, and they're going to be building 300 new villas, and I think within, I don't know, maybe 6 months, they've added an extra 20,000 on that property. So that proves, that the price of land and maybe materials is going up, and the price of property, especially here, the estate agents are noticing that there's less and less properties for sale because they're just getting snapped up so quickly now.
Yeah, and it seems to be that there's more slightly wealthier people that are moving, probably because of the non-lucrative visa, the necessity of people having to have more money in savings or bigger pensions. You've got, dare I say it, a different class of people moving over. If it's not necessarily about class, it's just about how much money people have got in the banks and how much planning they've done towards their retirement. So and that does increase the prices of property, and of course it's caused a housing crisis because all the prices go up and the locals can't afford it anymore because their wages haven't gone up at the same rate as property.
I mean, I don't know if it's the same where you are, Chris, but down where we are, these new developments are not even including, local people. Usually you have low cost housing on that development, but here they just putting up new developments and not even thinking about the local people, which I think is wrong, really.
It is true. That's one of the things in the housing plan that Sanchez put out. I don't know how it's been implemented or not, but he's saying to companies that when they build new properties, that they've got to have a certain percentage of those properties for locals and at rents which can be afforded, to provide affordable housing units for people. So we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next few years.
Yeah.
As usual, these things they take time. It takes time to build properties and implement these new rules. And in the meantime, it's going to affect tourism as well. It's going to affect the tourist properties, because in order to make more room for everybody, they've got to stop people having second properties that they've got rented off to tourists all the time. So we'll see what happens. Where do we go from here? What's next? Oh there's supposed to be travel disruption with airport and hotel strikes causing disruption this Easter. Has anybody out there had any experience of this? What's going on? Have you flown in this weekend? Hotels in Tenerife especially are having problems there. That's where a lot of the strikes are going on.
As far as I know, there's nothing, up our end in the Murcia region. And I can say, Murcia International, they seem to be all working fine. People seem to be coming in. Yeah,
and there's huge numbers travelling on Good Friday. People are travelling out of Spain, but loads travelling in. It's a very popular time to come. And I think a lot of the strikes, they're happening elsewhere. I don't think it's people at airports in Spain, but I think there's obviously a knock-on effect when, for example, it says Gatwick Airport workers to strike starting on Good Friday and ending early hours of 22nd, which is Monday or Tuesday, I think. And so that it will have a knock-on effect if air traffic control are striking. Is it air traffic control or it's baggage handlers, check-in staff, flight dispatchers. Oh, and it's only certain airlines: Norwegian, Delta, TAP, and Air Peace. So yeah, Norwegian have got cheap flights, so there'll be lots of Brits coming in on their planes. And hotel industry workers, there's strikes on the 17th and 18th. Oh, so they've stopped now. So yeah, but now I haven't seen anything here except that there's going to be a lot of traffic on the roads coming from the air. Yeah, and there's a train strike in France. So if people are travelling through France, I know they're very good at striking in France. They've got a history of doing it very, very well and very quickly. There you go. Oh, something happening in Greece there with that picture. That's an older news item, I think. So yeah, tell us in the comments, everyone, if you've experienced
it'd be interesting.
Any delays. Yeah. And here's the wind warnings.
Yeah, we've got the winds at the moment.
Gusts of up to 70 kilometres an hour. Coastal phenomena with waves of up to 3 metres. Let's see where it says it's going to be. The Andalusian provinces of Granada and Almeria. Oh, so it's further east than us, but where's Almeria to you? It's just that's not, you're further east than
not
that.
Far away. I'm just looking at it now, and we've got cloudy conditions expected around 5 o'clock today, but wind gusts up to 48 kilometres. Not too.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No,
yeah.
Not too bad.
And
I haven't heard anything about, because usually we do get warnings if it's going to be bad, like a yellow warning, which they're just saying there, isn't it? But
they did say, yeah.
We don't think we've got in the Murcia region.
No, I think so. It says Almeria from 8 a.m. to up to midnight, and Granada province. It's a westerly wind, 50 to 60 kilometres an hour. It's the gusts that you have to watch out for, especially me with my gig equipment there, and people sitting down with the umbrellas on the tables.
Yeah, you get harpooned by.
Yeah, you got to watch out for them. But I'm kind of in. There's a sort of a little dip where the places where I'm playing, so it might be okay. In the southeastern mountain ranges, the Balearics is going to get hit with some rainfall, but it's less likely on the Mediterranean. Oh no, it's less likely on the Mediterranean coast. But Galicia and the northwest are going to get rain and storms. There you go. That's not going to affect us there. That's up on the north coast. So Canary Islands, moderate trade wind will continue, but the Canaries get wind all the time, don't they?
Yeah.
It's just a lot warmer there. So yeah, tell us if you're over in Almeria, anybody, and let us know what the weather is like for you. And you can report it in the comments afterwards, actually, because I think the winds tend to get up in the afternoon more than any other time. I'm looking out the window now and the trees aren't moving at all. So it's fairly still. We have mostly cloudy through that window, but there's still lots of blue sky. There we go. I should let everybody know that there is a QR code in the corner of the screen, which I've not told you about today. If you can see it, that's the GoFundMe code I've got up there. And if you've learned something of value today, or you've been entertained, or you're just enjoying it, then hover over that QR code and you can find the place to donate. So you can put the price of a cup of coffee in, or 3 in the pot. Make sure the electricity keeps working, and I keep smiling because I run on electricity. So let's have a look at any more news. We're moving through these very swiftly, which is great. Mind you, we're coming up to the hour as well. Oh, this is one about Murcia. And this was in what paper is this? Murcia Today.
Murcia Today, yeah, our local.
Last minute Easter bookings fill Murcia hotels almost to capacity. There you go. The coast is 90% full in the city, in Cartagena, in Lorca. That's good.
Yeah, there's a few holiday makers about with their shorts and t-shirts on, while we're all dressed in our jumpers still.
Yeah. How long did it take you from moving to Spain to start wearing your jumper until the end of May or something?
Yeah, well, it's taken me, I think, a couple of years. I mean, my wife really notices a cold at the moment. She's probably got her 2 jumpers on at the moment, no doubt.
Yeah.
And we still lighting the wood fire in the evenings
Yeah.
because it still gets a little bit chilly. But yeah, that'll probably go into May. But then saying that, I've known people to jump in the swimming pool the past month
Yeah.
in the 20s. I mean, that's a bit too cold for me, but
It is. Have you got a heated pool?
no.
No. Mind you, when your pool's not covered over, when it's not in shelter, it warms up really quickly in May, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It gets there.
Yeah.
Whereas ours, we've got lots of trees around it, so even in the summer heat in July and August, it doesn't get over 30 degrees, which is great. So sometimes you can get a really nice, just jump in and cool off.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So, oh yeah, you've got the forecast is promising an almost flawless weekend across the region, which is good.
Except the wind.
Except the wind, yeah. But that's not too bad when it's warm enough.
No.
Because you can still sit outside in that. You just got to wear a jumper. And I still wear this thing, especially to come in the office when I'm just sitting down.
But what I will say is that the Guardia are getting a bit hot now on, if you are on the beach, guys, and you're coming over, make sure you got your passport with you. Because a couple last year got pulled for not having the passports on them. I think it was €100 fine each.
Wow.
But that's from the Guardia. I don't know. I don't think the local police are so hot on it. But I know when the Guardia come out. But I would imagine because it's all Easter parades and that, they'll probably be more dealing with that. So they probably won't be hanging about on the beaches. But they do seem to be getting more stricter now on dress sense and what you're supposed
I think that's a good idea, yes. I mean, it's all right on the beaches to be going around in your bikini, but not when you're sitting in a restaurant.
No.
So yeah, but they're actually fining people. That's interesting. Yes, indeed. There was a news item actually that came up on my phone this morning that they're warning people of pickpockets. They're saying actually it's more in Italy than anywhere else, but Spain is kind of on the list when it comes to Barcelona's got a reputation for it, especially at the tourist hotspots, because that's when people are not guarding their bags, when they're looking around and they're distracted.
I don't know if it's true, but it sounds like Benidorm seems to be having a problem at the moment with muggings and whatever.
Yeah.
I always thought the police are pretty hot on those sort of tourist areas anyway. You always see them about, if they're not walking, they've got the cars nearby.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. They do have a good presence and they can be scary.
Yeah.
The Guardia Civil.
They don't mess about.
No, they don't. I remember sitting I've told this story before on the channel. We were at the Noche del Vino, which is a specific celebration that we have here in Computo. It's the treading of the grapes for the local wine, which is this lovely, sweet, sticky loveliness, and they give away loads of it for free. And we were sitting outside at a cafe on one of the main streets leading to where the music was, and loads of flamenco dancing going on, and a whole troop, 7, 8, 9 Guardia Civil kind of marching up the road looking very, very serious, and some of them, they were actually carrying the automatic rifles as well in front of them, some of them just with the pistols, but they had them up like this so that they looked even meaner. And a guy sitting next to me, American guy, got his phone out and he was filming them, and he got really bad telling off from them, saying, you can't film us. So that was scary. And everybody just stopped what they were doing and sat very, very still as they passed, and then everybody chilled out again. Yeah, they create a distinct atmosphere, don't you? Yeah. Upstick John says, great show, guys. Got to run a bit early. See you all soon. Yes, of course, it is getting up to 11. Thanks, Chris. I'll speak to you. I'll speak to you in the week about what we're doing next week. Excellent. Jed's put another note up there. Let's see what he's saying. My council tax is £3,000 this year. Gas and electricity prices are the highest in Europe. The NHS is struggling. You can understand how retirees in the UK can see moving to Spain attractive. If only pensions were up there as well and increasing the same rate as the council tax and the prices. We shall see how that goes. What's everybody else's experience? Council tax has always been so much higher. We don't have such a problem in. How much is what's the equivalent of council tax? What do they call it over there for you?
Well, yeah, where we are, I mean, obviously we don't pay community charges. So that's a bonus. So our IBI, which I suppose they class as a council tax, because I live on a big plot, it's just under €500. So that sort of gives you an idea compared to what we used to pay in the UK. I think it's like 150 a month, whereas we pay that a year. Yeah.
That's much better. And you get a lot more for it as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, loads of people have been speaking to about, the amount of money they're paying out now in living in the UK. And they're just not, they're bringing home a big wage, but by the time they paid out all the bills, there's not much left over to have a bit of enjoyment. And this is where I think moving to Spain, the cost of living has gone up here, and there's no denying that, but it's still, we can still go out and have meals out, whereas obviously UK, we probably wouldn't be able to do that at all. But here, life's so much different. And to me, so much better. But yeah. I think the weather for a start. That's usually the thing people quote. But that's the main thing, and it's the weather. Getting up to a grey, maybe a wet day is not a good start. But getting up to a nice blue sky, sat out at 8 o'clock in the morning having a cup of coffee. It's it.
Brightens your day, definitely.
Yeah.
So there we go. So that's good news for Murcia region. In 2024, Holy Week brought in €110 million for the regional coffers, and that's likely to be matched, if not exceeded, this year. Good. There we go. A little bit more money in the coffers. Can't hurt anybody. Right, we'll come on to an interesting one now. You mentioned this. This is N332, which is the police's own. This is their website.
Yeah.
But it's the Facebook page that had problems because the Facebook's AI temporarily blocked the police's Facebook page, which is ironic. And some of our road safety articles were mistakenly flagged as inappropriate, even though they contained no offensive content. So I did a checkup earlier, and that seems to be back up and running. But they did actually start up or use a different page briefly so that you could still get access to any articles that they do. But that's interesting. And there's a whole news item, an article rather, on the Citizens Advice Bureau Spain website there. It's called "When AI Gets It Wrong, the Human Cost of Algorithmic Error," because I believe their site got taken down.
Wow.
And all they did was put up a sample image of a driving license used for display purposes only. It wasn't a real one, didn't show anybody's information. And the system flagged it as a cybersecurity threat when it wasn't. It was a helpful graphic showing users what to expect to look out for. And this kind of error is not isolated. And it talks about a local police group, which is the N332 with just over 300,000 followers, was recently taken down, likely flagged by an automated system misidentifying its content as inappropriate or dangerous. And we're seeing entire pages disappear and helpful community posts censored. Yes, because there's a charity organisation as well, with no explanation and no routes to meaningful appeal. These are the warning tremors, subtle signs of what happens when AI is judge, jury and executioner. Have you had any problems with your Facebook page like that?
No, touch wood, not at the moment. Some other groups have been having problems that they get banned for 3 days and they don't really explain what it's about. But Chris, have you done the
keep calling me, it's Scats, not Chris.
Yeah, I know. It's too many Chris's about, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Scats, have you done the AI with the chat GPT thing, the craze of the action figure?
Oh yeah. I've not done that one, no.
An action figure? I mean, I've done a few at the moment. That's the other side of the AI thing, isn't it? Some of the things you can do with it is amazing. But information-wise, yeah.
I use it. Admittedly, I use it every week when I'm creating my Wednesday videos.
Yeah.
Not to write the whole script, but to start off collecting all of the information that I want from lots and lots of websites and information pages and government articles and things like that. When I want to get the information collated, instead of me having to read all of those articles and pick out and find the relevant information, I ask ChatGPT or DeepSeek, the Chinese one, to gather it all for me and write a video script. That's the first thing I do. And then I go through it and I check it for accuracy against all of the articles and add in any more content that I want to. And then I put it in my own words, so it sounds like me. And it takes 24 hours less of my time to do it that way. So if you use it in the right way, it can be really, really, really helpful. And also to find the right tags that you put on there to make it helpful and to get search engine optimized and all of that. Get a good title and have a good video description. It comes up with those really quickly, so that saves me an awful lot of time, because it scans the internet and finds out the most regular sort of search terms that people are looking for on Google, and you can put them in there very, very quickly, and it works. Your viewing figures go up. Yeah, so I'm not totally against AI, and I did see, actually, it was only yesterday, there's an AI. It's not a Chat GPT thing, but it's an app, I think, which can not only change your face and who you are on screen. It can put an avatar of you or anybody. You can speak as if you're anybody, and it instantly changes your voice into somebody else's.
There's another one, Scats, that might put you out of business. There's an app now, an AI app, that you just put in, I could put in Expat Mazarrón, and it makes a song out of it. And it even sings it for you.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, I'm amazed at that. There's a couple that on one of the video channels, they just did a 3-minute slot with they just added where they come from. They're in Spain. I mean, and it sounded pretty good. I can see it catching on.
Yeah, I tried one of my songs. I took the lyrics from one of my songs and said, okay, take that and see what you can do with it. And it added a load more lyrics to it.
Yeah.
And sang it in a sort of the sort of voice that pop singers use these days. And you can change it into, you can ask it to do a more folky, acousticy voice, or you can tell it to do a more of a rock voice. And it's got loads of voices in there, and it changes the style of the thing. But I wasn't interested in buying into it, and because it's a subscription thing.
Yeah.
But it could, you could do a channel with all of that kind of thing, because it's all original material, and all you need to do is put a few bits of information in there, and it comes up with something which a lot of people would listen to. Not the sort of people that I play music to, but might be worth it. You might get millions of watchers just really liking it, if you can
but then
you can sell your soul like that.
Then, is it? It leads in that whole thing then of originality.
It is. I mean, it's officially it's original, but it's not human.
No.
How long will it be before you can't tell the difference? I don't know. Although I think sometimes you can't tell the difference between an AI one and something that's the average pop song nowadays, because that's the sort of thing that they're copying. And your average pop song nowadays, to my ears, is very generalized, very much people singing in the same kind of voice.
Yeah.
So there you go. Oh yes, Tessa Jones says hola from Australia, and she's saying yes, scammers are using those fake ones when catfishing people during their video calls. Yes, this is one of the dangerous things. You can tell it's AI as it looks wrong. I watch Catfish Channel when online scammers dupe people for money/dating. So you could be speaking with a child potentially in some random country thinking you're dating someone after they steal a Facebook identity, etc. Yeah, these are big dangers, and there are whole departments of the police that are now, checking those out and trying to chase people who do that. It's scary. So it goes at one end of the scale. It's really useful for businesses if used right to save time, as long as you keep the human element in there.
Yeah.
But at the other end of the scale, it's with the dark web, you can get some horrible things going on. So it's got to be policed right. As the Citizens Advice say, AI should assist, not replace human judgment. And they're saying we're not anti-technology, but it never must be the final decision maker when it comes to welfare and social security, legal residency or immigration status, access to pensions and healthcare, identification documents, and online speech and community resources, because these are human matters, must be treated with care, empathy, and an understanding of nuance that AI simply does not possess. And will it ever possess empathy? It can imitate empathy, but I think empathy is one of the most important things that we should have as humans. There we go. That's the deep philosophy part of the show.
All right.
Oh, and Tessa's studying criminology. There you go. So you get a lot of experience in that. And you use that for the criminology studies to simplify a complex topic. And yes, I spoke to somebody the other day who said brilliant for maths situations or writing computer code, because it just, that can take you hours, even, however experienced you are, but it can come up with whole computer codes within seconds. Yeah. And Tessa says, I ask it to simplify a complex topic, then I can think better. Yeah. Used correctly can be so useful. But yeah, I can see why it's so scary. So any more news that we've got? Oh yeah, we're going to talk about this page that you mentioned, Hello Events.
But it's only in our area, unfortunately.
I wish we had it as well, because these pages are great. This is just events for today, and it tells you where they're on, tells you the date, tells you the start and the end time, and gives you all kinds of details about everything that's going on. So there's an artisan mercadillo, small market there in the port of Mazarrón. There's a circuit training thing going on there, and Campasol. And what is this? Is that some kind of parade? And there is a family Easter egg extravaganza. There you go.
I might go and have a look at that.
Yeah, so that's started 10 minutes ago and ends at 4 o'clock. There you go.
No, good. I might have no eggs then.
No. Oh, you never know.
No.
Oh, there's the Harlequin Rock Choir and the Ukulele Sunshine Band. That sounds like a lot of fun.
They're pretty good, I must say. Got a bit of sound stuff.
Yes. Oh, there's a Boy George tribute band on there in the cantinas, or the cantinas are a band as well. And it starts at 2 p.m. end time unknown. That's in the port of Mazarrón as well. Bit of salsa over there on the right. Loads of events going on.
Yeah. We've got our local band there, the Quality Street, this afternoon. Cats. Yeah.
Nice. And what's that on the right? Saturday. It's what's on at Studio 54. There you go. So there's DJs. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
rock and roll bingo. I mean, you can't get better than that, you know.
Oh yeah, with Wazza. Nice one. Do you know him?
No, don't know him.
And there's the April program for the Oasis de las Palmeras. That's in Bolnuevo. There we go.
Of course, this changes every day, you know.
Yeah.
What I love about it.
It does, yeah. And it's so you can do that at the top. There's tomorrow's listing.
Yeah.
Fun and Sun. So loads, and you can get next week, and there's trips and tours, all kinds of things. So if you're ever in that area, then it's brilliant.
And it's a free app as well. I think it costs you nothing to have the app on your phone.
Yeah, and I know how much work these things take. I used to do a gig guide magazine over in Leicester, and it took me all of the time, and you have to chase people up, and that was only once a month for me. But he's putting on something every day, and he's obviously got a template there that he can fire things into.
Yeah.
But it's still laying out all of that stuff. It must take time, and he's doing it for free.
Yeah.
Unless he's got some adverts. No, there doesn't seem to be any adverts on there.
No adverts of that. So I mean, I don't know how long you keep it free for. Obviously, it's only been about less than a year, but it is really helpful if you get bored and want to go out and do something.
Yes. Oh, imagine if there was one of those for this area. It would be absolutely full. Yeah, okay. So that's all of the things I've got set up to show people. Let's just stop sharing that and get us both on the screen there. Hello.
No, you're not talking about the drone channel.
Oh yeah, Yogi says, talk about the drone channel. It's not just you droning on. It's talking about drones.
Yeah, and Tessa is on about what time is it here, and it's still in the morning. It's coming up to 11:15.
Yeah, it is. So it's 7 p.m. in Queensland. This is a fab time for a live for me. Other channels do theirs when it's my 3 a.m. Yeah. I've had the only complaints I get is from the USA, because it's when I start off, it's something like, I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning or something, and that's even if that's on the East Coast. So yeah, it's impossible to watch it live there unless you're up late at night in California, in which case they're sort of 10 hours behind or something like that. I don't know. So there we go. That's so. Is anything else happening for you that we haven't talked about?
No, I'm not talking about the drone channel. But no, that's it really. Like you said, tomorrow we'll be going out for Sunday dinner, but it's going to be a Chinese one. But other than that, I think it'd be a nice lazy day in. We got, like you said, we're big across the road where the band will be playing this afternoon. So we just open up the door, have a cup of tea, or have a glass of wine. Yeah.
Lovely. There you go.
What about
I'm
you?
doing this.
You got to
Well, I'm doing the same, except I'm going to be the entertainment.
Yeah.
That's that's today anyway. But tomorrow, not going to be doing very much apart from eating the lamb, and we might pop into the village. We might watch the parade in the morning. Yogi says, boring at Shaun. Brilliant. And Yogi says, Scats, you could record your gigs and put in your channel. The problem is they're cover songs by other people, so I'd get copyright violations, and so I wouldn't get anything for it. And if I got copyright strikes, then they could take my channel down. So that would be dangerous. I'd have to start up a new channel and do that. But I think that starting up one of those channels with like my own songs or songs made up by AI, that might be a fun one to do, and see what ridiculous things you can ask it to sing about. That might be good, because you can make some songs that deliberately sound wrong or funny.
Yeah.
There we go. Yogi likes my goatee beard. It's gone exceptionally grey over the last few weeks, just because I shaved it short, and now it's growing out grey on both sides. So yeah, it's getting. It looks good with a bald head. I think makes my face look longer. I've always had a round face, but now it's. Well, you've got yours all around, haven't you? Yours is all grey.
So I've got a square face. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. What AI tool do you use? What, for the songs? It's called Song something. I can't remember.
Songs AI, I suppose.
Yeah, just look. I think that's the thing to Google search for. Songwriter AI. Yeah, can't remember what it's called. Sorry, Yogi, but it's all one word. Song something. Yes, that's what I use, apart from ChatGPT and DeepSeek. The funny thing about DeepSeek is it keeps coming up with, when you tell it to do, a video script about something recent, it puts 2024 in there, because it's only programmed up to, it's actually only programmed up to October 2023, because I asked it. I said, why don't you know the date? Surely you know the date. It's 2025 now. And I was just telling it off lightheartedly, and it apologised and said, no, sorry, I'm only programmed up to looking at the internet up till 2023, so I don't have any information beyond that. So it's great for, when you give it information to write about and news items, and you've got to copy and paste the text, but it can't actually search the internet. There you go. Shaun looks like Papa Smurf, Yogi says.
You're pushing it now, Yogi. Time to chuck him off.
Yeah, can't kick Yogi off. Russ Camp says, great show. Thanks very much, Russ. Well, I think that's all it's about time, all we have time for this week. Make sure you've clicked on that like button and subscribed. Sounds like I'm talking in ancient English. If you haven't done that already, and I'll tell you in a moment about what we've got on next week's show. So let's all give Shaun a big virtual kiss and a hug and say goodbye for now. It's been an absolute pleasure,
guys, and thanks for having me on there, Scats. That's enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hopefully we'll do it again in the not too distant future. There we go. So everybody give him a wave. Bye for now.
Adios, everybody. And you, Yogi.
Excellent. So wasn't that wonderful? Loads of fun. Of course it was. So I've already told you who is on the show next week briefly earlier on, but of course it's Chris from Upsticks with our regular fortnightly format where we answer all of your questions. We do have a main feature item, and we'll announce exactly what that's going to be on the Facebook page and group during the week. But it is guaranteed at the moment to be something about the new residency rules that begin on May the 20th, because we only have, I think, 2 more shows together, because he's on once a fortnight, to cover that in advance before we move on to talking about how the new rules are being experienced and implemented in the different immigration offices across the region and across the country, really. And as usual, we'll be having our regular, our regular Ask Us Anything and frequently asked questions segments, and the very popular argument about something important or hilarious or both. It was favourite pizza topping last week. We finally got on to talking about that. And we never did answer the crucial question, pineapple, yes or bleh. So tell us about that on our Facebook page, and you can ask questions in advance all about the new residency rules, and you will be answered. Make sure you like and follow the page and the group. It's worth being part of them both. And thanks to you all for joining us and leaving comments, hitting the like button, supporting us with donations. There's the little QR code at the top. We've also got buymeacoffee.com page as well, which if you have a look in the video description below, underneath the bit where it tells you all about what today is about, it says there's a super link to anything to do with scats, and that will tell you all of the link details that you can go to. It takes you to, I think it's called Hi Hello, which has got all of my details on, and there'll shortly be another section in there all about the radio show that's coming up shortly, which isn't just for the Nauka area. You can get it online as well, so you'll be able to listen to that from Friday morning onwards as soon as it's on the time slot. So I will see you either on the midweek video at 6 p.m. Spanish time on Wednesday, or live next Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Spanish time. And look out for any YouTube shorts, which can appear anytime. I was putting one out every Friday afternoon until recently, because I've been preparing for the radio show really and not doing as many of them. But I'm going to try and get out and about a lot more, like Chris does on the Upsticks channel, and do some more of those. I'm loving his little videos that he does with walking around Malaga and all the different areas that he visits on his travels. Let's just have a final look at the live chat. And Yogi says, oh yeah, Free Sticker Sunday is coming up on Expat in Mazarrón. And Tessa Jones says, ciao for now. There we go, that's lovely. Yes, thanks to all of you for joining us. Somebody pass around the Easter cookies. Peace and love to everybody. Peas and fluff. And here's one final message from all of the voices in my head here at YouTooSpain. See you all soon. Wave goodbye, lads. Bye. Goodbye. Toodaloo. Peace and love. Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. One more cosmic dance? All right then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver. Let's dance.